Go on, take a deep breath right now. Feels simple, right? Well, you do that about 20,000 times a day, and most of the time you don't even think about it. But behind that one simple action is this incredible machine, and it's on a mission to swap life-giving oxygen for cellular waste. So today, we're going to unpack the blueprint for that very machine. You know, to really understand how any machine works, you got to know two things. First, there's the anatomy. What are the actual parts? You know, the gears, the pipes, the filters. And then there's the physiology. How do all those parts work together to actually get the job done? What's the process? We're going to tackle both. All right, so first up, anatomy. Let's go on a little tour, shall we? We're going to follow the exact path a single breath takes, a complete journey from the outside world deep, deep into your lungs. Okay, so our journey kicks off in the nasal cavity, which is basically your body's built-in air treatment plant. From there, it passes the crossroads of the pharynx and larynx, then cruises down the main highway, the trachea. This highway then splits into smaller roads called the bronchi, which branch out and out until we hit our final destination, millions of tiny little sacs called the alveoli. So let's take a closer look at each stop on our little road trip. Our first stop, the nasal cavity, is so much more than just a tunnel. It's a full-on air purification system. I mean, it warms cold air to your body temperature, it adds moisture, and it uses these tiny little hairs and mucus to trap all the gunk, you know, dust and pollen, all to protect the super delicate tissues deep inside your lungs. Next, the air passes through the pharynx, or your throat. Now, this spot is a shared space for both air and food, which, when you think about it, is a pretty dangerous intersection. But your body has this brilliant little traffic cop, a tiny flap of tissue called the epiglottis. It really is the guardian of the airway. When you swallow, it just snaps shut over your windpipe, making absolutely sure food goes down the right pipe and only air gets into your lungs. From there, we head into the trachea, you know, the windpipe. And this thing has a seriously ingenious design. To keep this vital airway from just collapsing under pressure, it's reinforced with these C-shaped rings of really tough cartilage. It's a brilliant structure that guarantees the passage stays open, always, not like some flimsy drinking straw. So that main highway, the trachea, it splits into two main branches called the bronchi. And then those branches divide again and again and again, just like the branches of a tree, getting smaller and smaller. At the very end of these tiniest little branches, we find our final destination, hundreds of millions of microscopic air sacs called the alveoli. This is the end of the line, and it's where the most critical exchange in your entire body takes place. So we've toured the architecture of the lungs. We've seen all the parts. But a blueprint is pretty useless until you turn the machine on, right? Well, that's physiology. Now we're diving into the physics and the chemistry that actually make you breathe. So how do we actually move air in and out? Here's a surprising fact to get us started. Your lungs have exactly 0 muscles. That's right, none. They are completely passive organs, kind of like balloons. They can't expand or contract on their own. So if they can't move themselves, how on earth do we breathe? Well, the answer lies in a simple little rule of physics, Boyle's law. All it says is that if you make a container bigger, the pressure inside it drops. And nature always tries to balance things out. So air will rush from a high-pressure area to a low-pressure one to fill up the space. And here's how your body uses that law. To inhale, a big dome-shaped muscle below your lungs, the diaphragm, it contracts and pulls down. This makes your whole chest cavity bigger, the pressure inside your lungs drops, and air from the outside just rushes in to fill that vacuum. Exhaling is even easier. The diaphragm just relaxes, the chest cavity shrinks, pressure goes up, and the air is gently pushed out. It's an incredibly simple and just elegant system. Okay, so the air has reached the alveoli. But how does the oxygen get into our blood? The key is another really simple process, diffusion. Think of it like this. You drop some food coloring into water. The color just naturally spreads out from the concentrated drop into the clear water, right? It moves from a crowded area to a less crowded one. Well, molecules do the exact same thing. So the air you just inhaled is packed with oxygen, a high concentration. The blood arriving at your lungs, though, is low in oxygen. So oxygen naturally diffuses from the lungs into the blood. And at the exact same time, your blood is carrying a high concentration of carbon dioxide waste, which diffuses out into the lungs to be exhaled. It's a perfect, passive, two-way exchange happening all the time. Okay, so we have the parts and we have the physics. But who's the pilot here? This entire complex system runs on perfect autopilot, about 12 to 20 times every single minute of your life, and you never have to think about it. So, who or what is actually running the show? Let me ask you this. When you hold your breath, what do you think causes that desperate, overwhelming urge to finally breathe? The logical answer seems to be a lack of oxygen, right? I mean, your body is running out of fuel. But is that what's really happening? Surprisingly, no. Your primary trigger to breathe isn't a lack of oxygen. It's actually a buildup of carbon dioxide. Your brainstem acts as a CO2 detector. The moment it senses the levels of this waste gas rising in your blood, it sounds the alarm, sending a non-negotiable command straight to your diaphragm that says, "Breathe now." And there you have it, the respiratory system. It's a complete masterpiece of engineering, from those clever cartilage rings to the simple laws of physics, all running silently in the background just to keep you alive. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible systems is your body managing for you right now without a single conscious thought?